guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing 2 DIYs using Dollar Tree items. So for this first DIY, I'm going to be using some of Dollar Tree's terracotta pots. And the first thing I have to do is go ahead and remove all of the packaging. Next, I'm going to be using some Waverly White chalk paint from Walmart, and I'm going to dry brush it onto the terracotta pot. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want some of the terracotta color to show through. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip my brush into the paint, dab off the excess, and then go ahead and brush it onto the surface of my pot. Next, I'll be using some of Dollar Tree's floral foam to fill the bottom of my pot. Then I went ahead and cut down one of the pieces of floral foam just so that there would be a better fit into my pot. Next, I'll be using some of these egg picks from Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to do is go ahead and cut them down to size with my angle shear cutters, which are from Amazon. Then I'll be, as I cut them down, sticking them into my floral foam and arranging them. Then I'll be using some of Dollar Tree's floral moss, and I'm going to go ahead, open it up, and put in a couple handfuls. It does get pretty messy, so beware of that. And this is just to cover up the floral foam and also to give it more of that finished look. And then this is how it looks when it's all done. I think it's so cute and perfect for spring, and even better because we made it out of Dollar Tree products. Next, I'll be using this fat quarter from Walmart. I think it was under $2. And I'm going to start by using my ruler to mark 1.25 inches from the side. And then I'm going to line up my ruler with those marks, and I'm going to use a pencil to connect them. Then I'm going to be using a pair of scissors to cut the strip. And to make the cutting easier, I actually folded the fabric in half, leaving the wrong side out so that the marks couldn't be as easily seen from the right side. Next, I'll be using one of Dollar Tree's green wreath forms, and I went ahead and I spray painted this white because at the time I wasn't sure what I was going to do and I didn't know if the green would show through. So I went ahead and just gave it a coat of white spray paint. Doesn't have to be neat at all. And then I went ahead and I used those fabric strips I just cut. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap them around my wreath at a slight angle, and I went ahead and attached the strips with hot glue at the beginning, at the end, and then every couple of reps. Next, I'm going to be using some of this hot pink pom-pom trim from Hobby Lobby, but you could use anything you really wanted to. You could use a different kind of ribbon, or you could glue pom-poms onto it. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to intersperse this around my wreath, doing a wrap about every 1.5 inches. Depends on personal preference, and I'm going to again attach it at the beginning, at the end, and then every couple of wraps with hot glue. Next, I knew I wanted to make a bow for this wreath, and I decided to go with fabric. And I got these two 1/8 of a yard pieces of fabric from Walmart. I got one pink and one blue, and I decided upon using the blue. And so all in all, this 1/8 of a yard of cotton fabric cost me about 43 cents, so cheaper than Dollar Tree. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold that strip in half, and then I'm going to go ahead and pin it so that when I make my line and cut it down the middle, it won't go all over the place and I'll have a straight line. Now it's time to go ahead and make my halfway line down the middle. I'm going to go ahead and start by making marks that are approximately, or as close as I can get, to halfway down my piece of fabric. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to find out where the center mark is, and go ahead, I'm just going to make a little line. And I'm going to do that in several places down the piece of my fabric. It's time to connect the dots, and so I'm going to go ahead and use this ruler. This is actually an 18-inch ruler. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to line up my ruler with those lines that we just made. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect them using my pencil along this ruler. Then I'm actually going to go ahead and add in a couple more pins alongside this line, because when I cut it, I did not want this moving at all, because I wanted it to be nice and straight and even. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it using this pair of scissors. Then once I finish cutting this strip down the middle, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the pins. Then I went ahead and I put 2 strips on top of each other and pinned it. Then I sewed both long sides and one short end. You want to make sure that you leave one of the short ends open, and then I flipped it right side out. Then I went ahead and I gave it a good ironing just so it was nice and flat and unwrinkled. Now it's time to make the bow. To do this, just going to go ahead and make 2 loops. The bottom one is going to be the bigger, the second slightly smaller, and the bottom loop is going to be about as big as you want your bow to be. Then you're going to go ahead and stack them on top of each other. Now, using a piece of Dollar Tree jute cord or twine, I'm going to go ahead and tie them tightly together. Just going to go ahead and cinch it and then tie a knot. Then I place it on top of my wreath, and I'm going to be cutting 2 tails out of my remaining fabric, and I made one slightly longer than the other. After I glued everything down, I flipped it to the back and cut a small short piece of twine. I'm going to go ahead and make a small loop out of it, and I attached it with some hot glue. This is going to be the hanger for my wreath, and then once I had attached it with those small dots, I went ahead and used one of my Dollar Tree finger protectors and added a little more just to make sure that it was secure. Now to give these tails a little bit more lift, I went ahead and tucked them underneath the bow, pulled them up a little bit, and then attached them with some hot glue. And to finish off the ends of these tails, I went ahead and rolled them in a little bit, and then put in some hot glue, and then just squeezed them shut, wiped off any excess hot glue that seeped out, and then they were all nice and seamed shut, and just gives them that more finished look. And this is how it looks when it's all done hanging on my wall. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you liked this and want more DIYs.